All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back here to the Chris Maher Show, Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, here on YouTube, Twitter, wherever this stuff is kind of streamed and kind of where we put it out. We're all over the place here at Maher Media. Obviously, check us out all over. Lots to talk about tonight. Kind of going through a bunch of different things from cuts to the roster, who could kind of be shaping up for the opening night roster, since the Flyers have one, preseason game left here. It'll be interesting to kind of see how a lot of this stuff plays out. But as for now, I got Kickin It With Knuble here with Mike Knuble. So I believe Mike is good. Mike is in here. Here we go. Mike, hear me?
Yeah, I got you. How you doing, Chris?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Good, buddy. Right in the middle of a pickleball. We got some pickleball going tonight.
Nice. There you go.
Lovely.
That's
here
good.
In Michigan, 85 degrees. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
85?
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, it's
I
think it's like 78 here. Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I know. It's our last day here. That's going to be 50 on Friday. So.
There you go. That's good. That's good. Getting a nice sweat in. Outside of that, how you been?
Good, real good. Just again, hockey's getting closer, and kind of people are, the waiver wire has just begun really loading up every day, and so it's interesting to look at some of the names. And I don't know if there have been any surprises anywhere right now, but it's it's certainly that time where everybody starts to whittle down.
No, for sure, and definitely on the Flyer side of it, when you look at at least guys that could be surprising or anything like that, it's really nothing too crazy so far. I mean, there's been a lot of cuts. If you're looking at cuts alone, and again, I'll go through all the names. Obviously, a lot of them are guys that are most likely phantoms or recently drafted or could be going back, the junior stuff like that. Yeah. Barkey, Bonk, two guys from this past draft, Southern, Fashan, Sedley, Bjarnason, Zadie Wisdom. He's going down to the Phantoms. Lexi Gendron, same type of thing. Mason Millman, Samsons, Molik, Karashik, Meyer, Dinoye, Grons, Bellerive, and Gaucher. Those are the others in the past couple of days. Recently, Owe Lixel, Matt Brown, and Brendan Fury, they go to Lehigh Valley. Mateo Mann goes back to junior. Adam Brooks, Brett Gardner, Belpedio, Mete, and Cooper Marity were all on waivers yesterday for the Flyers. They all cleared. And then Tanner Legzinski and Cal Peterson were on waivers today. It seems like that those guys could probably clear. I know, Mike, we've talked about Peterson before and just trying to figure out if his cap hit and everything, if how much of that you want, because I know we've talked about before just how much money that and how much really percentage of your cap is in goaltenders, right? And how much of that can kind of play into it as well. Yeah,
no, he's a guy that could he play in the NHL, as a good number two? Absolutely, but it's certainly, with making $5 million, he's actually a really good guy to send to Lehigh because he'll be a great backstop there. And then he's probably going to slide through, right? At that rate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he's like in a tough spot, you can say, he's making $5 million a year playing in Lehigh Valley. Is that really a tough spot? But, career wise, it's not the best move, and probably his salary is like holding him back in that respect, and so it's kind of a tough break, but, I guess some consolation for him. He doesn't get escrowed down there. So he's probably going to make about 10 or 14%, 10 to 12 to 14%, extra this year just to be in Lehigh with no NHL escrow. So I guess there's a positive we can look at.
There you go.
Yeah.
And outside of that too, I mean, it's interesting because I think, there's definitely going to be call-ups throughout the year. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be guys that come in and a guy like Peterson, he definitely can do that. He actually had a pretty good game the other night. Came in halfway on, I believe it was Friday night, excuse me.
Yeah.
And he actually looked pretty good. He made a couple of really good saves late, all that type of stuff. So, as for him, it's a little bit of a different situation for Legzinski. He's a guy that he's, most likely he's probably an AHL type of guy. He's battled a lot of injury in his career. he seems like, you know, he probably could go through. But outside of that, though, Bobby Brink, Mike, Bobby Brink's looked really good. I don't know if you've seen anything on Brink recently, but he's had a really good camp. Torts has really praised him. He's, you know, second round pick a couple years ago out of the University of Denver. Was injured last year a little bit, but he came back, was pretty good with the Phantoms kind of going into the playoffs, and he had a really good stretch of games, and really just this entire camp he's looked good. Is there anything, I guess, for Brink that you like about him? I guess size, type of play, all that type of stuff, and is he a guy that you maybe look at to make the roster?
No, he's not a super big guy, right? So he can't play on your fourth line. It seems like the fourth line is kind of, not written in stone, but pretty set, right? So guys are playing for their top nine here a little bit. And certainly he's a guy that they're kind of like, they've had their arm around trying to slowly drag him into the Flyers lineup, and give him some experience. Then he's debuted and done pretty well, and his thing is, his effectiveness is going to be, in the top nine. He's got to play with skilled players, and because he's not, number one, he doesn't have a spot to play in the fourth line here. Number two, he's not a fourth line type guy. What Torts probably looking like. So as long as Torts learns to trust him, and he feels his mistakes, he's a young player, he's going to make mistakes and do dumb stuff. But if Torts tells him once or twice and he learns and he's not stubborn, then he'll have a chance. And then you go to Lisinski, and he's been dinged up, and like you talk about Peterson, they're at different points in their careers, and Lisinski hasn't quite stuck, where Peterson stuck more for a longer time. And so it's a tough point for him in his career, 3 or 4 years pro, and the hockey gods haven't been kind to him injury wise. And so, you almost get to a point where you get labeled, like, as you say, almost like an American leaguer. But, you hope that's not the case, but that's the way it goes sometimes, right?
Unfortunately, yeah. And again, he's the type of guy that had skill coming out of college, and the injuries just kind of killed it. And it's the same thing with Wade Allison, and he's another guy fighting to kind of make this team and keep his job essentially. As for Tyson Forrester, Mike, we've talked about him a lot in whether it was the rookie games or before that, or even just going off of last season. He was one of the guys that I was looking for in the rookie games to come out and have a good showing. We broke that down. It didn't really do that. I mean, not many really anyone did in those rookie games. It was kind of just a flat weekend for the Flyers overall. But last night I thought Forrester was better 5-on-5. He's been more engaged, definitely, but nothing to the extent of kind of what he was doing last year. I think Torts kind of. I feel like at least with Brink, he's really making the Flyers make a tough decision here, because he's played so well that and Torts even admitted it last night. It's hard enough for them to think of Brink outside of a top 6 role just because of how good he's been. Because I think the one thing that's good with the Flyers lineup now, Mike, is that you can really shuffle around so many different guys. I mean, especially when healthy, obviously, because adding Couturier, adding Atkinson. Atkinson could play second line, third line, first line. You can drop Konechny. You could move Tippett to the left. There's a lot of different things you can do, and adding Brink into that mix could be part of it. Now, in Forrester's case, he's not really. He hasn't shown as much. I personally think Brink has outplayed him so far, but I just don't know how much they gauge from these couple of good games in this camp compared to the 8 NHL games that Forrester played, and then kind of that back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, those, there's 2 guys there. They have their own mini battle going. There's another competition, and does that if they're both close, to the Flyers open up with 14 forwards, or if one's not as close, then maybe open up with 13 and send one down, maybe to get their feet under them. And Forrester hasn't, Brink's kind of stepped ahead of him. Forrester seemed like the door is being held for him, to play in Philadelphia, to come in through that door and gain a roster spot. Now, is it, does he know that too much? Is he thinking about it too much? Is he laying awake at night and he's kind of like, well, God, I'm not playing good, I got to play better. And you start beating yourself up, and it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Right.
Just your negative self-talk, and that's a big deal. Players, you come in and you kind of feel like, wow, man, it feels different. You might come into training camp and rookie camp, you feel like, oh man, okay, I'm the boss around here. This is my team, and you're like, oh, this will be easy. I'll kick ass at the rookie camp, and then all of a sudden it kind of sputters a little bit for whatever reason. It doesn't go the way you want. And, the self-doubt starts to creep in, and that's where that mental toughness comes in. So again, there'll be some meetings and some talking to him and figure out where he's at, with his brain. Is this something he can work out in the NHL? And maybe they'll feel it is, and they keep 14. If he doesn't, maybe they go down to 13 or something. And maybe he is the 13th guy. I don't know. So, but and that's if he can clear waivers, and I mean, he's waiver exempt, so it's easy to flip him down for a few games. Maybe you send him down for 4 or 5 games, let him play 2 weekends, get his feet under him, and get going again.
Right.
I don't know, and that's where that feel of ownership or the feel of management comes in, and kind of knowing them and Torts. They've all been through this before, so they kind of know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting with Bob, possibly sending him down for a little bit, because they did that before with Farabee a couple years ago, and he proved right away like he did not need the AHL. I think he went down there. I think he had 6 points in 2 games, and then he got called up the next week, and then he's been a flyer ever since. So
right, because sorry, just to finish that.
Yeah,
like,
no.
It's just, you can send them down. Yeah, it's not send them down. You're like, hey, you know what? You're going to go to Lehigh Valley. It's not a punishment. It's not a punishment. This is for you. Where you're going to go down. Ian knows you're going to play 20 minutes a night. You're going to play PP and PK, and just get your feet under you. Now everybody's got their fingers crossed that stuff works out. And that he does do what Farabee said he just did. And that's kind of they see that can happen too. So. It depends how, it probably depends how, if he does go down, how they frame it to him a little bit, and how he takes it. And if he feels like, like I'm going to play my way out of here, and I need to play my way out of here, and hopefully things go his way. So that's kind of my take on it. My 2 bits.
Yeah, no, exactly. So. And honestly, Mike, we saw that last year with Cam York. Like, it seemed like he was kind of, I don't know if he was gifted a spot or maybe thought that, but then it was like he didn't make the team, and everybody's like, whoa. And then he gets sent down. He came up around December, and he's been great since. And speaking of him, he's had a pretty good camp too. I mean, he was banged up a little bit, but he's had a good camp as well. Outside of that, as for some of the other guys on defense, Travis Sanheim's been playing the right side. It's nothing new because Sanheim's done it before. I mean, he did it in junior. I know that's a long time ago. He did do it a little bit at the NHL for, I think, maybe 30 or 40 games, close to half a season on the right side. But he's looked good, I think, in that area, because the one thing that they've mentioned with Sanheim is opening up his breakouts to where he's more on his forehand instead of receiving everything on his backhand type of thing. Obviously, you probably understand that with the off wing and everything else. How much of that, A, do you think kind of plays into that, and B, just maybe Sanheim getting his confidence back?
Well, I think, obviously he's a left shot, playing the right side, correct? So they're trying to find a spot for him, right? I think in the long run, if you're a young player, instead of being upset about being on your offside, you say, I got to learn how to play this, because, if I want to have a nice long career, right? If I can play both, that really, when 2 teams are trying to sign me and, somebody's trying to figure out if they want me or not, well, this could be a deal, this could create a deal for me and be a deal maker for me. And also it depends how he opens up his mind toward, and be accepting of it, and it is a different view of the rink, and you kind of have a different look at things, and you lose your, redoing your bearings and kind of finding where you are again on the ice. But it might be something that, plays another left shot D, gets real good at a D to D one timer and getting pucks to the net, and all of a sudden points start to pile up for him. So, it's and you hope that he's got that in him, and you hope, again, that's just something as a young player, how you approach it, and if you feel like you're up for the challenge, and you're like, it's a little bit of fitting a square peg into a round hole, and you just hope the peg can, change from a square to a round peg, and fit that hole.
So you're saying that we have to go back to when we were little kids and do the all the shapes again?
Yeah, with your little hammer.
For Sanheim, he's 40 points last year, or sorry, I was reading Pims, my mistake. 35 points was his career high. He definitely can get more than that, especially if the Flyers are scoring more. And he's going to be playing more power play time, because you only have Cam York as your quarterback too. Yeah, no, and that's, so the more they can throw on his plate, and obviously they're kind of maybe testing him too. Like, how much can we give you here? What can we give you exactly? What are you gonna be able to handle here? It seems like him and Torts have Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, just seeing he's got a nice point total, and they're like, of course, right? Like you just touched
Right.
on it, man. We're like, we love to build on that. We want you at
Yeah.
50, 45, 50. Can we get you there? We think maybe, we can. We want you playing with these guys, up in the top 4, and we want you to get better on your offside. And and you're going to run a second power play, so there's no reason for you to not have 45 points. And so again,
Right.
hopefully his frame of mind is there, and obviously they think he's skilled enough to do it. So they're just trying to make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's always been just a huge consistency thing with Santa. Like it's never been he doesn't have the skill or he doesn't have the ability to do it. It's just he just can't put it together for a long stretch of time. That's been the biggest thing. And for a guy like
join
him,
the club, like a ton of a lot of young guys have that problem, man. Lots of veterans can't put it together for a long time. That's why that's why they don't make the big bucks. That's right. Yeah.
No, but again, like to your point, they're trying to add. I think part of it too is Cam York, because you have York who mostly played the right side last year. He's always played the left side his entire life. Basically, that seems like that's his big thing, and they've been really. I think more of the move of this is also to elevate York at the same time to help him. But again, to your point, you're trying to unlock more with Sanheim because again, he has the ability to do that, and he's never really gotten a fair look at the power play either. I think last year he did maybe for a couple of games. I can't really remember any long stretch of time where he had a chance on the power play, but and speaking of the power play, it has looked good. It's harder in preseason to evaluate it because A, it's different units every night, and B, it's different players and rookies and all this stuff. But it's looked good. I mean, they've moved the puck well. That's been the biggest thing for me is just the constant puck movement. They've had at least 2, probably 3 like shifts where they just had the puck in the zone for at least 35, 40, maybe up to a minute. Like the one game they had it in for a minute and a half and ended up scoring. It was just incredible. It was honestly, Mike, one of the best power play goals they've scored in the past couple of years, which shows how bad the power play's been. But just any thoughts on the just the power play and maybe just like consistency and stuff, kind of getting into the rhythm throughout the preseason and stuff.
Well, yeah, you talked about continuity, and that the lineup doesn't have that continuity, and that's kind of what you learn in the NHL is you learn some ins and outs of the guys that that are consistently on the power play. But and it's good. I mean, you're talking about having the puck in possession, and it's great if you have the puck and you're passing around the perimeter and skating around the perimeter, and that looks fine and dandy. But like the crowd likes to say there all the time, shoot the puck, right? They all start yelling about shooting the puck. So the coaches are evaluating. It's like you got to see how many chances you're generating, right? And then, but you talk about the goal, they had it for a minute and a half, and who knows what the total thought is on that PP. They end it with a goal, which is great. If you take a minute, any coach should take that. You guys want to mess around with it for a minute and a half and then finally score a goal. Okay, I'll take it. But, there's sometimes that power plays are much more effective in 30 seconds to get multiple chances and
That's true.
But it's, so it's, if you're going to have the puck, I'd be concerned about what kind of chances they are generating, because a lot of teams let you play on the outside. You just have to go to possession's one thing, but then generating chances is another, right?
Mm-hmm. No, exactly, and I think part of that too. And I'm curious what you think about this. Like, for how many years you played in Washington with Ovechkin, why can't teams stop Ovechkin? Like, it's going to him. Like, it's there every time. I don't know if I lost Mike or the picture cut out, but is there a reason for that? Or I think I might have lost Mike. Yeah, I lost him. He's probably gonna hop back in. But yeah, no, I mean, and that's kind of the thing with the power play. Like they've and it's a good point. They've had a different kind of stretch of that. Here he is back in.
Oh, sorry. So you're asking?
No
sorry, I got a phone call and jacked me all up.
No problem.
So you're saying why can't teams stop Ovechkin, right? So
yeah, I mean, like he's always there. He's always in that spot. I mean, everyone knows it's going to him. Everyone knows it's going from Backstrom to Carlson right over to Ovechkin. He's firing it right in your net. I mean, why can't they stop it?
Well, I think when they were in their prime, the options were just crazy, because Johnny Carlson, you can't underestimate his ability to put the puck in a one-time position for Ovi. That's not that easy either, right? But then when teams would sit on Ovi, much like they do Steven Stamkos in Tampa, then it was Carlson go that way toward Backstrom, down the goal line to whoever, and then it was out to TJ Oshie, you know, and it was like they had all kinds of options. So it was like you take one away, there's 3 others that come up, you know.
Right.
So it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole. You know, you can whack Ovi the mole, but there's 3 other moles over there that are going to make something happen, you know. But
yeah,
that's a good question, you know, and obviously guys like Ovi or Stamkos are really hard to come by and try to load those guys up. But
yeah,
you know, and Tampa's got Kucherov and Hedman and those guys. They're super smart with the puck. And so, all these things, the power play looks some teams make it look so easy, you know, and then other teams make it look so hard. And
the Flyers make it look very hard.
Well, I know. There's not everybody gets it Ovechkin, but it's good to see though that when they go down to Lehigh, you know, there's a lot of guys that can play it, you know.
Yes, yeah.
You got to find a couple that can play it at the NHL level, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that continuity anyway. At least guys are kind of drinking the coaching Kool-Aid there, the PP Kool-Aid, and getting on the same track and buying in and trying to do the same stuff they would do in Lehigh that they would up here, you know. So.
Right. No, exactly. And, you know, I think a lot of that is just kind of building up through the preseason and just kind of shaking the rust off. And last one for you here, Mike, these couple of guys, they've been doing that. They've been shaking the rust off, Couturier and Atkinson. Yeah. Cam comes back. He's played 2 games. He looked pretty good. I mean, obviously not those guys I'm not really looking for much right now because I know they're kind of just playing to get back into, you know, game shape. Cam did score. It was kind of a fluky goal backhander that just kind of fluttered in. Couturier, he's had a couple good moments. He got on the scoreboard last night, had an assist on a deflected shot. Is there anything that at least that you're maybe looking from these guys or just kind of, you know, battle the rust out, get into the season and kind of see how it plays out?
Yeah, I mean, Shorts, you know, those guys, like you said, they're getting their feet under them. They're kind of, you know, trying to get through, see how they feel physically the next day, you know, getting used to like, well, how am I going to feel the next day after a game, you know, and without really getting too involved. But, you know, like this week, as they wrap up games, you know, Torts will start to load the lineup up a little bit, I'm sure. Coaches want to kind of, you know, see what they got and then really get these guys that are smart enough and they're veterans. They'll figure out they'll be going a little bit, you know, a couple % better, you know, by the end of the week and then really flipping the switch next week, you know, and they're veterans. They've earned that right. They know what they're doing, you know, so they don't, you know, they know they don't have to, you're not going to win the Stanley Cup in your first exhibition game, you know, so they kind of ease into it a little bit and they've earned that right, you know, and the coaches give them that right, you know, and so, yeah, it's just kind of the way it goes in preseason. You hope that you get off to, and then, you know, come next weekend, it's go time and you're trying to get out of the gate as fast as you can.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it'll be interesting. We'll see. Mike, question for you. What is pickleball? I've never.
What do you mean? What is pickleball?
I've never played pickleball in my life.
All your viewers are like, "What are you talking about?" So it's like it's a smaller. See all those people over there? It's like a smaller.
It's like tennis
court.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's playing on badminton, kind of, or not a badminton, but it's a shrunken down court. It's like a little, like you play in your driveway almost. I think kind of started in the driveway in California and all that. So it's all the rage amongst the older people. And a lot of younger people watch it. It's on ESPN and stuff. You got to watch it.
I you know what? I'll
stop
have to
next
I'll have
time
to tune
when you're scrolling through the cable or whatever. Let's stop. See pickleball. Stop on it. And watch.
Yeah, I'll make sure I put that on. Yeah,
it's like tennis, but you don't have to run around that much.
Okay, that's fair. All right, yeah, it's a good description of it. All right, Mike. I'll talk to you next week. All right, man.
All right, you got it. Yep. See ya.
All right, enjoy. See you, Mike. Right. There he is, Mike Knuble, Kickin It With Knuble. Yeah, I literally had no idea what pickleball was. I've heard of it, but I was like, what? I had no idea what pickleball was. Phone line is open, 267-939-1216. Hit the line. Any, Flyers question, anything like that. But yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what this lineup is on Thursday, because it seems like it's going to be probably the closest lineup to Thursday, October 12th. I don't know who specifically is obviously going to be playing, but I have a guess, I think, for right now. Doer's Sweet Gherkin. That's funny. Forsberg has been pretty quiet. I agree, Mr. Twister. It's been tough. Like, I haven't really noticed him that much. So, and that's the thing. I think with Tyson, like, it's harder with Tyson, I think, because, you know, we're expecting, like, I think just the jump from last year. You know what I mean? We're just expecting that same type of play where it was like he already had games under his belt. He already had pretty much an entire season. He was probably pumped up from getting called up, and he just came down there and just played without a thought. And now you have, and again, I'm not saying that he didn't think, but, you know, I think you get my point. For a guy like Brink, who battled, right, he had a lot more, I don't think time to prepare, but I don't know if time to mentally prepare might be a little different. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, I'm not trying to, it's not a knock on either one of them. If it's Brink, if it's Forrester, if it's whoever that ends up making the team. Brink has looked really good, Ryan. I agree, man. He's looked good. He's been on so many pucks. He drew 2 penalties last night. Drew 2 penalties. I believe he's had a point in each game that he's played in. He had the goal, the assist, and then the shootout goal on Friday. He had the primary assist on Allison's goal on Saturday. Played last night, Monday. Had a good couple of he had a good couple of shifts, and you know, I think he kind of faded out a little bit Saturday, but he was only a Flyer playing a back-to-back. It's probably part of it. But he's making it really hard, and I talked about this last night in the post-game video. Like, he's making this really, really, really hard for the Flyers to just say no. Like, I can't see them just being like, like, there's no way. I mean, he looks good. He's scoring. It's not like he just looks good and he's not really producing. Like Forrester, that's what he's doing. He's looking decent. I think he's getting better as the games are going on, right? But he's not producing right away. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I see it. Ryan said he went to the game last night, obviously more than NHL ready. Yeah, I mean, it's good, you know, going to the game. It's always fun going to a game. Yeah, dude, he seems NHL ready for sure. There's a lot of things there with his game and just where Brink is at. And I could see him being the second line right winger. I mean, I genuinely could see them dropping Cam Atkinson a little bit just down the line and putting Brink with, if you wanted to do Frost and Tippett, I don't know. That's a little, it's smaller of a line, but so is Atkinson is kind of smaller too. So I don't know if that's even really a case. I could just be saying that. You could do Tippett with Frost and Brink still. You could drop Atkinson down. Yeah, it's tough. Like, if you're looking at last night's game, let me pull up the lines here, because last night's game was a little bit different. You know, you had more of a, you know, Flyers type lineup. Farabee, Coots, TK, Tippett, Frost, Atkinson. Oh, excuse me. Lawton, Cates, Forrester, Allison, Paling, Brink. So outside of that, you could throw Brink up. I'm not saying drop Forrester, but it's really hard to see where. Like, I don't want any of these guys to be. I don't want any of these guys to just come and play fourth line. Like, I want this to end up being, you know, a roster that has a mix of vets, obviously, and I think it's just, you know, I mean, you have a lot of, there's a lot of different combinations you can go with here, and it's really tough because Tippett can play top line, Farabee can play top line, Konechny, obviously, and you know, if you're just talking about the left side, you can put Farabee, Tippett, Lawton. I wonder if they would try Forrester on the left side. It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I think that the biggest question is Allison, because he doesn't really fit. Because if Brink has played better than Forrester and Allison. So if Forrester doesn't make it, you slot in Brink in the third line. And my fourth line is Laurier, because I can't see Delorier going down to the AHL. Like that's just that would be absolutely bonkers to me. It's not that you're paying him a lot of money. You're not. It's just like he's such a pro that it wouldn't. I don't think it does any benefit to you. Now that I'm looking at these lines, I'm trying not to see if I forgot anybody, because you got Farabee, Couturier, Konechny. So these would be my lines, right? If I did this, if I was the head coach, these are my lines. I would go Farabee, Coots, Konechny, Tippett, Frost, Brink, Lawton, Cates, Atkinson, Delorier, Paling, Allison. That's what I would do. But it's hard because if you're looking at just the remaining roster, I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anybody too. It's really tough. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios of even Varster and Brink. If you're looking at the roster, so you have Allison. Yeah. I mean, it's tough, man. It really is tough. Yeah. I mean, I think Paling has looked good too. I knew I was forgetting somebody. Hathaway. Yeah. It's tough with Hathaway. I knew I was forgetting somebody. So then, yeah, I think Allison doesn't make it then, because I think Hathaway. I forgot about Hathaway. Good call, Paul. Rhymed. Hathaway. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I done goofed up there. I don't know. So I would switch Allison then with Hathaway, or I'd put Hathaway in for Allison. So I had a Farabee, Coots, TK, Tippett, Frost, Brink, Lawton, Cates, Atkinson, Delorier, Paling, Hathaway. And my defense is the D is tough. The defense is tough. My D there. This is my D. This is my defense. Look at the roster. Make sure I have that right. I don't want to just say it like I did last time. So Andre. Yeah. So my defense would be York, Ristolainen, Andre, Sanheim, Stahl, Walker, and Zamula. That would be my D. I don't think Jennings makes it. I don't think Adder makes it. And you can put Sealer in the AHL with his contract. So I would do that, because Sealer is this year is a two-way. So you can put Sealer in the AHL. You go just on the Flyers cap friendly alone, you can check. There's a lot of that stuff. But as for Sealer, let me pull this deal. Let me see here. Not sure how I would be able to tell on cap friendly, but it is something that's part of it. So yeah, I mean, I think for York, Risto, Sanheim, Andre, Zamula, Walker, Carey Stahl is 7th. I feel like I just feel like if you're signing Stahl and you brought him in here, he's gonna play. I don't think he's the 7th guy, but I mean, I could be dead wrong, but I don't see it that way. I also do think that Sanheim's probably gonna play right most of the year, because I'm reading that left to right. But if that's Sanheim on the right, I'm fine with that too. I like Andre with Sanheim. Yeah, I mean, I think Zamula's played good. Like I'm fine with Z as you know, on the team right then and there too. Yeah, I'm fine with that too. I mean, Adder as first call up, that's fine. Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see. There's a lot of different kind of combinations that you can kind of throw here. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks everybody again for all the support as always. Make sure to like, subscribe. Yeah, it's always fun talking hockey, and I'll talk to you guys all again next week. See you guys.